what I will try to talk in probably next 20-25 minutes is that how technology or AI adoption or accessibility or usage we are seeing in the overall media entertainment part. But I'll probably keep my discussion a little more focused on the film entertainment or content creation part of the business. So I think all of us are familiar what is film. Film, I mean, from the days of, in India, it is almost like a 120 years old industry. We have seen how the industry has grown from the story of from the folk stories to ultimately how people enjoy today in the new medium. जो कहानी हम लोग फिल्म में बोलते हैं वो actually in our culture there is a very rich culture of folk and literature, and our earlier generations have grown up in enjoying those stories, and over a period of time we have seen how those stories has came to film, came to television, came into our households, and we have enjoyed over the period of years. But as technology has advanced, the enjoyment or the experience has grown up multiple times. We have seen even in the visuals, it is not only the storytelling and story experience. We have seen how the visuals look, feel. It has gone over change over the years as people have embraced and people have celebrated and people have enjoyed newer experiences. Mediums have changed. Of course, when we have grown up in my childhood, and probably there are many seniors also here, I think when we used to go to see films, there more used to be concept of cinemas in single screens, then the concept of came of multiplexes. We saw, I think in India, satellite television or pay television, as we call all this ZTV or Star and Colors of the World, that is, I think, 30-40 years old, I think in 90s, private channels. Before that was Doordarshan. We have seen films in video cassettes and VHS, in CDs. And probably last 5-6 years we are seeing film and content in different platforms like Netflix, Amazon, Disney of the world. So mediums constantly changes. The technology part of the medium constantly changes over a period of time, and with the ultimate objective how to enhance audience satisfaction, audience experience on one side, and at the same point from a storyteller, filmmaker point of view, how to make him able to create a better content, a better story, and make it more cost effective. So of course, what is the future? And in all fairness, I think as I'll speak, I don't think any one of us have the complete answer that what is the future, but we always try to understand, try to learn something, try to make our own trends over a period of time, and from there we try to analyze and try to find our way or path. Coming to the topic, what we want to discuss today, while we'll talk about that, I think there are two reference points at the starting of the conversation. I'll tell you guys, I mean, if some of you are familiar or closely follow the film industry or the entertainment industry globally, while I mentioned that Indian industry is close to 120 years old, I think globally the oldest industry is Hollywood, more than 200 years old. They have very structured organizations or bodies who represent artists, represent talents, represent writers, and in almost in between 22 to 23, almost for a year and a half, the two largest bodies in Hollywood, the Writers Association and the Artists Association or the Actors Association, went for almost like a year-long strike. And among many points in the strike, I mean, of course, many of the points in the strike are financial points, security, and etc. One strong point which was there in both the strikes were the fear of getting cannibalized or overruled in front of artificial intelligence. that's the dichotomy of the segment. So I'm talking of an industry which is the most evolved industry in the globe, in the entertainment space, which is Hollywood, which is 200 years old industry, the most matured industry. The Writers Association, which is WM, which was the most respected association globally, as well as the Actors Association, they went for almost 12 to 18 months of strike. I think it started in 22 and somehow finished in 23. And among many financial points, there was one point, both in the Writers Association as well as in the Actors Association, they want a protection that if artificial intelligence, are they going to take away our jobs? Right? That's a fear. And I think if that fear or concern is there, we will have many schools of thought, but I think over a period of time, what we have to be respectful is that how do we take those concerns and fear and create a protection so that we don't get the creators of the community or the creators community doesn't get completely into a shell, thinking that it's going to take away our security, our jobs, our intellectual property, our liberty, ethics issue. There are multiple issues. It is not only money and intellectual property. It is also an issue of ethics. We'll talk at the course of the day, but it's not there in the part of my presentation, but I mentioned that this is something which happened last year and which really shaken up the entire creative community globally. Anyway, coming back to the point, so what we understand is that when with the technology, the advancement that has happened, and coming back to the situation that how generative AI and AI has helped in many-fold in front of the growth, I think overall, the principle what wants to follow in life is that whenever something new will happen, there will be some disruption, there will be some change, there will be some resistance. We need to see what we need to pick up and how do we protect ourselves and move forward. Then resistance. I mean, I think in the 80s, many of us are familiar here in the early 80s or mid 80s, when the computerization was happening in the country, almost like every public sector or many places, we used to have strikes. That computers is going to take away our jobs, but today those things are probably we have overcome, right? So same scenario. Coming straight to the areas that how in the entertainment industry, whether both in the West as well as in our country also, it started happening, how generative AI is helping or making decision making. Leave the jargons for a moment. What does filmmakers or creators do? We try to create a story which audience should like and audience should pay. That's the sole objective, right? Now, that can be as small as an ad film, a 30-second story. That can be a slightly short form film. That can be a film for OTT content, 40 minutes. That can be a feature film, 2.5 hours. And millions of people across the country or across the globe is trying to create that. And many times people are successful, most of the time people are not. How an artificial intelligence or a machine learning help us, in at least in that part? How does the writers or creators in today's world try to think when this whole concept of adoption or adaptation of machine learning or AI was not there? We used to take reference. How do we learn? We just learn that what has happened in the past and whether it has done well or not, right? How people reacted to a film in 1970s or 60s or any point of time. So we constantly take reference from the past. What artificial intelligence or machine learning help is that they churn million and billion and trillions of data and bring those reference points in seconds and minutes in front of the creators. So if a creator, I think good old days, there are filmmakers who used to keep VHS or cassettes in their home, Korean film, Australian film, English film. They used to take scenes, they used to take a reference point. Like there must be hundreds of films across the globe has happened based on a reference point of Godfather. Iconic films, right? So people across the globe used to take reference point of something which has happened good. And that reference point is to come from the physical learning and physical understanding of those space. Now, a lot of that at least the reference point can be thrown on the face through the machine learning or artificial intelligence. It's then up to the maker, because ultimately it's still a creative job. It is up to the maker to take it or not take it. It is up to the maker to accept that as his gut call or not. So coming back to some of the areas but that's where is the core. Now let's see that what all areas which is helping us. So generative AI can help filmmakers understand audience preference. So what I will make a reference, I'll make a reference which audience will like. So every filmmaker wants to make the next Sholay. But it doesn't happen. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it does not happen. Majority of the time it does not happen. But machine at least can throw me some hundreds and thousands of some reference point globally and say that, okay, this scene can be written like this. This twist plot can be done like this. This climax can be drawn like this, because it has happened in the past and somebody has liked it. That's what is data through us, in front of us. Brainstorming of idea generation. When the creators brainstorm on ideas, they do what? They sit with their AD, they sit with their writers room and brainstorm. Now you will brainstorm with live factual information, which is not physically possible to mine, but it happens through data mining. Algorithms can identify pattern or trend. Kya chal raha hai, kya nahi chal raha. What do we mean by genre? When you say genre of a story is action story, romantic story, comedy story, each of these names has again a 20-30 subdivision, which is nothing but trying to understand the trend of an audience, that how does the audience wants to react to a particular story. Content expansion, or expand upon existing concept, like whatever the concept are there, can we expand those concepts over a period of time. Next point is very important, visual experience. हम लोग जो फिल्म देखने के लिए जाता है, सिनेमा हॉल में जाता है, we generally say I want to have an experience. The experience of seeing a film in a cinema hall, experience of seeing a film in a TV is very different. That's why we say outdoor entertainment, indoor entertainment, reference point, and etc. So what is that experience? Experience is nothing visual, sound, light. That 2.5 hours you should go to a magic world. That experience machine can enhance substantially. It has already have been doing for last 20-30 years. The quality of VX, quality of CG, the kind of stuff what we are seeing, but it can improve further. And of course, personalization and audience engagement. The analytics can help you to engage. Like where it is happening is that if you look at most of the platforms, most of the global platforms, which are OTT platforms like Netflix, Amazon, Facebook, Google, Insta, they have millions of data in terms of people's audience preference, because online they're finding the preference trend and etc. And from there you can derive your next stage of planning. These are some of the typical tools or stack which are already happening. Some of it has already happening in India, some of it is not happening in India. Even if I not run it in a chronological manner, because not everything probably have started, not every production house has started embracing in India, but like, let's look at a situation, content management system. Must be happening last 20 odd years. In every broadcasters, every OTT platforms have a content management system. That when you have contents, how do you manage through intelligence and through machines tools, how you are managing that. Let's look at a situation of cloud computing platform, at least happening probably last maybe a decade, maybe last 7-10 years, at least from an India point of view, I'm saying in ways it is happening for more longer period, right? If you look at machine learning framework, computer vision libraries, these are the stuffs which already West has started embracing. And the larger organizations, which are like, say, larger global organizations who have also set up the footprints in India, they are also embracing and training and teaching the communities in the country around those space. These are some of the tools already available. When I started the discussion, that in trying to make it very most one sentence way, that how does AI can help me in a script? AI can help me in a script by throwing away multiple points, that how it has become successful in the past. Now these are the tools, these are softwares are already available. And a lot of companies, a lot of production companies are embracing them, and some of them have some specific expertise. At an overall level, it all looks something the same. Like if you look at script book, it uses the natural language and algorithm to analyze screenplay text and provide insights on plot structure. तो हम जैसा बोलते हैं ना, स्टोरी का एक 2.5 घंटे का स्टोरी में एक प्लॉट का स्ट्रक्चर होता है, स्टार्ट mid, end, pre-climax, anti-climax, all these points. Now, you write a script, upload it on the platform. It will help you to improve or give those plot points. And how it will give just from the data or information what is already there from historically. Synalytic is again a decision support tool for the film production, but it also gives you decision making in film distribution, financing, marketing, that part of the activity. Greenlit is a platform which generally most of the companies use, or some of the companies which use before the decision making to Greenlit or not. It is not only the story, it is also the commerce, it is also your means of financing, the kind of business it can do, not do, etc. Right? It predicts your box office, it predicts your identifying emerging talent. Like, in a loose way, we also talk that without a data, without a platform. Like when we say, suppose in one of my film I will have Ranveer Singh. So what is the easiest reference? I go back, his last film kitna kiya, kitna box office kiya, kitna dhanda kiya, kitna satellite becha, kitne mein digital platform kiya. So we make those calculations based on our own information and knowledge over a period. The machine helps you to tons of those data, not only one actor, multiple actors, multiple period, maybe last 30 years data it will give you, so that it will help you in your decision-making process. Vault AI, again, solution for content management, as we talked in the past. StoryFit, AI-powered script analysis. So, just to give some reference point, each of you guys can go to the website of each of them and take your own understanding. But these are some of the tools already industry is using. Just to mention some of the companies who are doing great work in terms of how to enhance and create or take one step ahead in the technology, audience experience, audience engagement, in all those areas, right? Disney Research Studio is basically a vertical within Disney, and they are constantly working on innovation and technology and to increase the enhancement of audiences' expectation in terms of the quality of the content. VetaFX, again, is known for the visual effects. Like after most of the work happened in VetaFX. Now, visual experience, I don't think I have to explain. I think you guys, most of us are already familiar, and we have seen the quality of experience of films has disproportionately has improved over a period based on the quality of the VFX, quality of the CG, that whole element, sound, the whole element, the way today we enjoy a film into the cinema hall, because there is a significant improvement or significant development that happened in those spaces. And a lot of the companies, whether it's VetaFX, MPC, Double Negative, Framestore, they're all working in different, and each of them has some Oscar-winning work under their umbrella. These are some of the examples which has happened in Hollywood, and each of them has an interesting way. Like if you look at Will Smith in Gemini Man, here, we used AI to create the digital double character. Generally, when we see doubles in somebody doing a double role in our films and etc., historically we have learned in a situation it's been shot twice, right? And then you get it married. But here the character was built completely through technology. Like if you look at recently Indiana Jones, where Harrison Ford is the character who is completely de-aged in the situation. So there will be, I think it comes somewhere in the presentation. Then in the case of, say, Lion King, right? In Lion King, there was not a single frame which was a live action. Everything was shot. Few hundreds, thousands of photos have been taken initially, and then they all have been brought into a realism through machine, right? So it is almost where all it help us. These are, I think the headings itself you guys understand, these are easy to understand. It makes a dramatic saving in the cost, increases skill talent pool, is flexibility. We don't, while shooting a film, while shooting a content, people originally used to think of multiple kind of limitations. Even even the small things like we are all familiar with last 15, 20 odd years, or maybe even before that, people say, okay, chalo, green screen mein shoot kar lo, and then we create the world around it, right? So everything is now not dependent upon the physical limitation or the activities. We use the benefit or the opportunities what is available through technology and create the enhancement. Technical expertise, Indian studios have access to the state of the art. I'll mention some of the Indian studios which are doing great work. These are some of the studios which are doing great work, and there are many. I mean, I think all of them are Indian companies or a subsidiary of global companies in India. Prime Focus, whether it's Prana, Red Chilies, all of them have significant quality of work under their belt. All of you, I think, also will know that almost virtually, I think I have been tracking this almost last 15, 20 odd years. Most of the time when we say Oscar-winning film in terms of the technical awards or the VFX work and etc., a substantial part of the work actually happens in India. Whether it has been taken by DNEG or whether it's taken by Double Negative or Technicolor, a global platform, but majority of the work you'll find whether it is happening in your Bangalore, Pune, or some parts of the country. So yes, there are concerns which I mentioned earlier, and as a part of the situation, the concerns are whether it will take away the creativity, whether it will take away the originality, whether it will create a bias. Sometimes it's like whatever data is there, it will throw the data also in the same line, right? So what kind of filter you use, what kind of human intelligence you use over and above the data you get. That will be probably the important, and that's where you cannot take away the creator. In our language, we generally call it as a gut call, right? That part we cannot take away. But information technology always give you a path, give you a trend, and that's why it is always a very welcome situation for the overall industry point of view. Areas of concerns are also stereotyping. So makers, filmmakers, creators always take a pride of telling stories which not necessarily are everyone's stories, because a filmmaker also take a pride of championing a story of a minority in a thought process of who generally not necessarily in the work of culture and creativity as a minority, not in any other form. So whether AI will push us by throwing those data and analysis and take the world to further stereotyping. So those are the concerns in the space. Of course, concerns of job displacement. And I can say with confidence that significant level of peoples have to reskill them or develop a new set of skills. So how much, what amount of impact will be there, probably all of us have to understand over a period of time, but it has already started happening. So let's not try to ignore a thing that no, life is hunky-dory. A lot of traditional roles will go away, but at the same point of time, probably a lot of more work or quality work one will be able to do with the help of the information and technology. I think this is an area which is the biggest threat, that copyright, intellectual property, and privacy and data protection. And this is the area where I think even the strike which I was referring to, which the Hollywood writers went for almost like 1.5 years, this was the core issue of them. Because ultimately, you give a plot point, you give a requirement, and the machine throws you up 20 odd stories and versions, and then you write. You never know that it is taking from where, right? So how do you protect your copyright and IP? So protection of IP in the creativity world is very important, very significant, because that is the only asset we create. Everything else is intangible, right? So I don't think that even today we have found a solution to it. I think over a period of time, things will fall in place. Regulators will bring in guidelines, and probably over a period of time, we'll find a place where it will go to a suitable, because technology advancement will happen on its own path. The regulators have to take care of everyone's interests and find out rules and regulations around that. But this is an area of genuine concern, at least in respect of media and entertainment industry. These some of the examples, like great stuff which has happened at the same point of time. A question arises that, like this advertisement, I think many of you, I think most of you have seen. It came during the Diwali where Cadbury's, this is an AI-generated ad, where basically Shah Rukh has been shown as a brand customer for whether you are using it for a retail shop, whether you're using for, so the multiple ad came out of one usage of the photo, and it almost looks like the Shah Rukh has done a multiple level of ad individually, but it's all done in the AI, right? The one in the right hand case is a very is a significant. It's like a fascinating story, and one has to take it how it in a manner. It just happened, I think, last month or month before. Mr. Rahman, I mean, who is like the most respected film composer he uses the voice to create a song of a gentleman who has died, I mean, long back. So he used 3-4 seconds of his voice from another song and recreate a complete new song. And of course, he did it rightfully and legally. He paid his family, signed a contract with his family. So think in today's world, and it happened just a month back. I think 1.5 months back, this song was launched. So like today, that means it opens up an area that if somebody say, oh, for next film, I want the song to be sung by Mohammad Rafi. Possible. You just take 2 or 3 seconds of his voice from any of the past song, and with the new composition can happen in his voice. On one end, it creates a significant level of opportunity, engagement, entertainment. At the second level, the questions come, is it ethical for consumer? Because somebody who has grown up hearing Mohammad Rafi or any of those, or Kishore Kumar or any of those iconic songs, and today he will hear a song, there is no way to distinguish that it is not sung by the original singer. Is it the correct practice? I don't know. I don't have an answer. But these are the questions which are coming up. At least in his case, Rahman sir did everything correct from the families. He took the permissions and everything. But is the money and permission all? Or if we can protect that, then that can be used. So these are some of the concerns which you have been speaking. So I'll probably not repeat. Misinformation, fake content. We have seen situations of deep fake, identity theft and fraud. We have heard, like, I mean, I think most of you have read that a few months back there was a deep fake which created with video which is created with one of the respected actress. So those are the issues or concerns which come up. So the regulators have to move quite fast in that space. So there are consequences of harm, but in principally, overall, I think the basic thought process of life, and this is not necessarily only for media and entertainment, is that when there is a technology advancement, there will be issues, there will be concerns, but let's celebrate and champion and see what are the benefits it can give, and try to protect and try to ring fence the concerns and create regulations around that. That's the overall understanding of the overall learning, and probably all of us will be learning are learning in that phase. And I'm sure that going forward, more and more Indian companies and more Indian audiences ultimately will start engaging a part of this journey, and it will be a excitement for all of us. Thank you.
I don't know.
Next, that's Anupam.